I have a confession.
Yeah.
So today I got to write a very formal businessy letter, like statement of intent to like the SBA about my loan. And I got to call myself a CEO. And if you're not watching this, you should be, because I did the whole thing in a Hello Kitty sweatshirt. And I had a moment where I was just like, yes, this is why I went into business for myself.
And you guys are really, in fact, I should screen capture this because it's that magical right now. And I just did.
This is what dreams are made of. And if you're wondering, like, should I go into business for myself? If the answer is yes, I like wearing Hello Kitty sweatshirts, then you should. You absolutely should. You like to wear Birkenstocks with socks, then yes, you should start an online business. You should. You just should.
Or you just want to wear pajamas to work. I actually had a spa idea where I was just going to wear pajamas to work, and it was going to be like a pajama party. And then I realized that I kind of almost already did. So that was the point.
I'm already here. We're done.
All right, let's go ahead and get started. Hi, I'm Sybil Solon. I'm an esthetician and spa owner.
And hi, I'm Alex Ellis. I'm a body nerd and wellness expert, and we are business besties.
And bosses. Running your own business, it's hard.
But we're terrible employees, so we're figuring it out.
I've already figured it out, but we promise to share everything we know about what it takes to make six figures and beyond.
And be brutally honest about what works and what totally sucks.
Oh my gosh, a bunch of it totally sucks. Mm-hmm. But let's go ahead and get started.
This is the year of the suck. Welcome back to Skinfessional. You're watching another episode with your favorite business badasses, besties, and ballers. So on today's show, we're talking about really asking the question, are you bored with work right now? Are you bored with what you're doing? And I know we're in a really super weird year of a dumpster fire that's like 600 years in 1 year. And yeah, it's hard, but have you lost your passion?
And how finding that new thing may not be exactly what you're looking for to rekindle that passion.
That shiny object is not the fix.
No.
Not the fix. Not the fix. So this concept came about from some conversations that you've been having, Sybil, right? With some other beauty professionals.
Yes. So, and I want to be straight with you because I know that some of you out there are going to be like, oh my God, she's talking about me. And maybe I am, but actually I have literally had this conversation with, I want to say 5 or 6 estheticians just recently, almost the identical conversation. So if you're like, this sounds like me, it could be, but it's not just you. You are among other people. Mm-hmm. So what happened was I've had people come to me and be like, so, you know, I wonder if I should be, you know, doing something else during my facials. Either my facials, like they're going too quickly and I can't seem to take up the 50-minute time, or I'm getting bored during them. And I kind of want to listen to like a podcast or like, is it weird if I want to listen to audiobooks or something? Like, I'm just like super bored. And I can't seem to like manage my time during my facials. Like, what do you think? And trying to be not judgmental about it, I was just like in my head, I was like, what the hell are you doing if you can't like take up your time? Because for me, like, I'm just like, my time is always taken up. But I thought to myself, well, if you're having trouble, there's something else going on. So I went to my business bestie, Alex, and said, what do you think's going on?
Yeah, well, we have lots of ideas of what we think is going on. And this is, I mean, I think there's always those days where you're like, I don't want to be here. This like really sucks. But I know you asked me like, well, have you ever felt like, like mailing it in? And beyond like one day, here and there, because again, like we are humans and we have emotions and, life happens. If I had to do what I'm doing right now for like the next 30 years, I would be totally cool with that. And I say that because I've set it up. I mean, just like I started with my confession, I've set it up in a way that fits me rather than fitting myself to the job.
Yeah.
Which I think is a big difference. Because I really do. I think that if you're getting super bored with what you're doing, there's some questions we need to be asking, right?
Right.
Like, why are you doing this in the first place? And I know that can be really uncomfortable. And you may have already
Yeah.
turned me off. Turn it back on. Turn it back on. Don't turn it off.
Right. Don't turn it off yet, guys. Because listen, it like I'm the first person to say I have been jaded before. Like, if you do this long enough in this profession, like, Alex, I'll talk to you in a few years. I mean, you've been doing this a while, but you've also pivoted, you've done other things, you've reinvented, you've changed. And we'll be talking about how, like, we all have to do that in our careers because we have to change and grow and evolve.
Mm-hmm.
But I have, somebody who's done this, there have been times where I've been like, I can't do this anymore, and I am not inspired, and I don't like it. So what do you do? I've been jaded, but there's not once that I've ever looked at my clients and been like, I'm dialing in my job. Because when I start dialing in my job, I know that I'm not giving my best service, and that's on me. And so I need to change myself.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And that's when either you close your business or you change,
Mm-hmm.
you evolve, you adapt.
Well,
You
and
know?
I think, there's like an energy with how you show up to what you're
Mm-hmm.
doing.
Yeah.
And if you are bored, your clients are picking up on this, whether
Totally.
they know it or not.
Right.
Like the vibe, it's not all like good vibes here. If you're like, man, I'd really rather be anywhere but here right now.
Mm-hmm.
And so I do think that it really is an opportunity for some introspection and figuring out, like, am I doing this because I actually like it? Or am I doing this because it's what I think I have to do?
Right.
Because they're not
Right.
the same thing.
It's true. So I'm going to tell a story. Alex usually gets to tell stories, but I'm going to tell a story. So I've told this story before. I was a baby esthetician, and I was sitting and listening to Jane Warwind, who is the creative Dermalogica, and she's phenomenal at her gig, right? She's freaking created Dermalogica, but she started as an esthetician. And I'm listening to her on a stage discussing how that she started Dermalogica because at the 10-year mark, she was like, I just couldn't be an esthetician behind the table anymore. She goes, I was bored. And I remember sitting there being like, what? No way will I ever be bored doing this. This is the greatest job in the world. I change people's lives with my hands. And then ask me 10 years, and you will literally talk to estheticians who are my good friends who will be like, Sybil, you talked to me about the fact that you thought about quitting because you were unhappy.
Mm-hmm.
You were, afraid that you were going into work, and you were talking about retiring. You're like, I want out. I can't do this anymore. And the reason why is because I knew that I was dialing it in. Like, I would go into work and I'd be like, whew, I got to like take off my dial in cloak and put on the like, no, every single time I see somebody, I have to make the effort to love what I'm doing. And I have to connect with that client, and I have to be doing that job. But it was an effort to do it.
Mm.
And if I didn't pay attention, I would just be like zenning out and be like, what? I don't care what's even happening. I'm not paying attention. And I had to make sure I focused and really loved what I was doing. And that's when I realized that I needed to do something for myself. I was not filling the well. I was working too many hours, and I wasn't filling the well.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, that's when I realized I needed to like work less and raise my prices significantly. And for me, I had to change up what I was doing in my office, but also what I was doing inside.
Mm-hmm. That's a
right?
huge point. Yeah. So how did you get to that point though, where you were like, oh, this is it?
I mean, it was actually my good friend Kelly, who's an esthetician, who is, we all have a person who's like super nurturing in our life, who's very spiritual, because I'm not. So we always have our yin and yang, right? And she's even more spiritual than you, my business bestie, Alex. And so I remember calling her and talking to her and being like, I'm just so unhappy, and I'm not thriving. And she was just like, but you love what you're doing. I'm like, I really don't. And she goes, that's not even possible. I mean, she's so fast. She's like, that's not even possible. I'm like, no, really. And I was at the point where I was bringing in mentees because I was like, I would get inspired by them, and they would kind of give me a burst, but then they'd go and I'd be like, oh, now I'm blah again. And so she asked me the question, well, what are you doing for you? And I was just like, I don't even understand this question. What? And she was like, well, what are you doing to, to inspire yourself? And I was like, I don't know. I don't think I have anything kind of left to like, there's nothing for me to do. There's nothing left for me to get excited about. And she's like,
Mhm.
well, go find something.
Mhm.
And I remember being like, because I'm very like sometimes poo poo about things. And like when I'm not esthetician civil, I'm very like, whatever, this is stupid. Journaling, what? I'm like,
One
I
day
don't
I'll get you one
understand.
day.
I'm just like, I don't understand this question. And she was like, go find something that is making you inspired and excited. And so, like, I sat down and I'm like, well, what makes me really excited? And quite frankly, making money makes me really excited. And I went down, I'm like, well, what do I need to do in my business that like I'm not doing? And I'm like, I'm working too many hours and therefore I'm not making enough money for how many hours I'm working. And I'm like, I just need to work less.
Mhm.
And so I looked at my hours and I was like, this is what I really have to do to be excited. And it's when at the same time, Hydrofacial had kind of changed up their system and they were like, we're going to have these new serums that are coming out and you can change up, all your facials to go along with it. And it was kind of this vortex that happened that allowed me, the universe is like, hey girl, change up your menu, change up your life.
I have a question.
Yeah,
I have a
go
question.
for it.
Because I think even that of like being open and receptive to messages that are coming to you
Mm.
from the universe, did you already have a process in place so that you were open and receptive? Was that something like, oh my God, this has never happened before? Like, tell me more about that.
No, I've always been very open to the universe. I mean, I sometimes kick and fight and scream at it, but I've always been like very like, hey, I hear you. Okay. I mean, I'm listening. I might not like what you're saying, but I'm listening. But because I felt like I had nowhere to go, I was like, okay, let's do this. Like I'm at rock bottom. Like I felt very much at rock bottom. Like
Mm-hmm.
I was about to quit. I was
Mm-hmm.
so unhappy. I was so unhappy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's no other way to put it. I was just very jaded and unhappy with what I was doing. And I talk about this in another episode, and I made the decision that I was just going to really increase my prices. So I increased them 50%. And I had a year of breaking my business.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so crazy stressful and it was horrible. But at the same time, it was wonderful because like it was everything that I needed. I needed to have a horrible, horrible shakeup where it was just like everything that I need because it was stressful and magic and drama. And not once was I bored.
Yeah.
Not once.
Did you fill up this new time that you had with, or what did you fill up this new time you had
Yeah.
with?
So I filled up this new time with more marketing. So learning some new marketing, a lot of stressing, which
Mm-hmm.
I actually thrive on stress. So I was fine with that. And then I did like spend more time like hanging out with my man, which, he loved that. He was like, thank you. I love, he would always be like, I just want to spend more time with you and you're never home,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Would there have been an alternate universe in which you would have been able to just like make more time for stuff outside of work without breaking your business simultaneously, you think?
I don't personally think so. I to because I did it a second time. Remember, I
Mhm.
did this all over again, and I was like, well, it's going to be easier this time because I've done it before. It was equally as horrible the second time, even though I knew what was going to happen, and it's never easy. And so I don't think so, but I will say the second time I did a better job at bringing in more exciting things to do in my life to fill up the time that I had allocated myself. So I started doing like more theater and I started, going out more. And I actually planned that time because I knew what I was going to do with that time because I knew I
Mhm.
was going to have it. Whereas I think that first time I wasn't sure what was going to happen. And I spent a lot of time just being like stress ball. Like, I don't know what's happening.
Right, right.
I'm not sleeping. I'm
Yeah.
eating my feelings.
Yeah. Cause I think it's so interesting to hear you tell that story too, because I'm thinking of, how did I get to a place similarly where I'm like, no, I mean, this is cool. And we were talking about this before we started recording.
Mm-hmm.
Um, kind of about like validation and like, how are you feeling? And I'm like, no, actually, like, I right now feel the most content than ever.
Mm-hmm.
And the difference is, number one, I'm making enough money to cover my basic necessities. Like being
Mm-hmm.
able to buy gas without having to check your balance first is like,
It's
yay,
magic.
magic. But also is I had a realization when I was working with Lindsay, the financial therapist. We did an episode with her. You need to talk to her. She's amazing.
Amazing.
And she was like, well, what's something you like to do? I think that, especially as business owners, we forget to have hobbies outside of work,
Mm-hmm.
and our whole life becomes our job.
Yeah.
And you are this person if your friends ask you, how are you? And all you can think about talking about is work. That's a
Right.
real good sign. And I
She needs
realized
to know that's not a good sign, guys.
it's not a good sign. No. I realized that I really like to build and create things. And so I had been in my business building all of this stuff and then stressing and like setting these unrealistic deadlines, meeting them. But to meet them, I had to, grind myself to the bone to get there. Same conversation with my partner, like, where are you? I just want to spend more time with you. Like, this sucks. Like, are you still working? Oh, you never have time. Like, all that stuff. And I could feel that same desire of wanting to build and create with my other favorite thing, which is eating. Um, and I realized that something that like truly brings me joy is like creating stuff with my hands and specifically baking, because I wasn't relaxing because I didn't know how to relax, and nothing was relaxing because I was always thinking about work. So I made sort of like the backwards of what you're talking about, but I said, okay, I want to do more of this. All right, I'm going to schedule a day where I know I'm not working. I don't have any, obligations, and I'm going to do that thing that I want to do. I'm going to bake a cake. I'm going to bake cupcakes. And I just started like baking stuff. I don't have people to give it to. I was giving it to my landlord, forced my husband to take it into the office. He's been working this whole time and they love stuff. Just sharing it, whatever. But that brought me so much like life satisfaction
Mm-hmm.
that the work stuff is now just in the flow. And I say this too, not like, oh my God, I'm making so much money. Like, yes, I can pay my gas. And I was just telling you too, like, I mean, my income is down
Right.
over the last couple months, but I'm still meeting my basic needs and I'm not freaking out, because I wanted to set my life up to be the person that I want to be, whether I'm making $2,000 a month or $200,000 a month.
Right.
Because you don't reach $200,000 or 200 million, whatever it is, by just burning yourself out. I mean, any
That is the lesson.
Yes.
Yeah.
Every successful person you ask, they've had a moment, just like you too, Sybil, where
Yeah.
you're like, oh, I was fucking miserable and I had to stop and like do it differently.
Yeah.
And so I'm just trying to be more intentional now about what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. So I'm ready. I'm ready for the riches. And I know that they're coming because I'm so fucking ready.
Right.
I've laid the bed out,
So when you're out there, like, and you're thinking to yourself, am I bored? And I'll ask you the question, have you lost your passion?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Then you ask yourself, was I ever passionate about this?
Yeah.
Right. Did you ever love this? Because if you didn't, Alex and I will tell you, leave now, escape hatch. Now is the time.
Mm-hmm.
Get out. Don't stay in a career you don't love.
No,
okay?
Life is too short.
Right? Get the hell out. We've both done things we don't love and left them.
Yeah.
Right? Get out. There's no reason to stay in a job that sucks. There's just no. If you're doing the job and you used to love it, remind yourself what you used to love about it and find that thing again.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So for me, I knew that what I loved to do was, once again, I love to heal people with my hands. Right? And although the hydrofacial was a machine, it allowed me to get back into doing more massage because it took less time to do these facials. It allowed me to spend more time getting back into massaging people. So I could do a hydrofacial on people and then I could add more massage to that treatment in a shorter amount of time. So I could spend longer time with people on the bed, but I could do a facial in like a regular facial in a shorter amount of time. And I could get more creative with my facials.
I miss the hydrofacial. I mean, I miss
I
you, but
know,
I
I love you,
really
little
miss the
machine. It's
hydrofacial.
behind me right there.
No.
Love you, little
I
one.
mean, there's like some pores right here that really miss it too.
No, it's so magical. So that's what it allowed me to do. So I started taking more
Mhm.
massage classes again. I brought in a couple other addendum machines and pieces of equipment. Now, mind you, pieces of equipment are not going to change your life. They're not going
Yeah.
to give you passion again.
No.
Remember, what brought me passion was the fact that I was healing people with my hands again, right? I
Well,
just then allowed those machines to help me do that.
yeah. I mean, what would you say, or have you ever been in a place too where you're trying to fill that void with like the shiny objects where it's just
Oh
like
yeah.
new classes and new courses and new
Oh yeah.
machines and stuff?
Oh
So
yeah.
like,
Oh yeah.
how do you differentiate or like make that switch of true life fulfillment satisfaction and I'm just chasing the shiny object?
So I actually find that one of my one of the triggers that I hear for people is when they're all when like when they're constantly seeking that new shiny.
Mm-hmm.
You are not living your passion. Like you're
Mm-hmm.
not happy with what you're doing. So when people are like, I'm looking for that next thing, you are actually not, in my opinion, probably happy with the esthetician that you currently are.
Mm-hmm.
Because estheticians who are like solid in what they're doing, they can always be learning. They're like, maybe I'm trying new stuff because I'm always looking. Like I like to educate. Like I like to play and pretend. Alex, what did you just show me today? You just showed me a new tool,
Oh,
right? You have this new little roller tool,
I'm
right?
playing with
Yeah,
it. Yeah.
right. She has a new little tool, right? But it doesn't stop you from being like, I have my core. I know what I'm doing. These are my tools. This is just this new thing I'm testing,
Mm-hmm.
right? We're
Mm-hmm.
always testing things, but we're not dropping $20,000 and thinking it's changing our life and going to change everything we're doing. And it's the next thing, the next new.
I did that.
Did it
That's
change
like
your life?
it didn't turn out great.
No. And I've done that too.
Yeah.
And I will tell you that at the time I was like, this is going to change my life. And it didn't. And that's when I looked at myself and I was like, Sybil, you know that it was time that you needed to like go back to the core basics.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew that I had fallen into that pattern as well. So when I have estheticians who are like, what is your favorite tools? What are your favorite things? I'm like, are you a new esthetician or just trying to find your way? Then I understand.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a long-term esthetician, maybe you're lost your passion and you're trying to find that you're trying to find yourself again,
Yeah.
right? Because you're seeking.
I think it's really important to have hobbies outside of work. And
Yeah.
I'm just laughing at this because it's so ridiculous. Because like I love work. I love Mondays. I love my clients. I love what I do. But I also in the last like 2 months have realized how much I had been missing something else.
Right.
It
I
can't
mean,
it
I
does,
love skincare. I live and breathe it,
yeah.
but I love the theater too. And
Mhm,
I just picked up Taiwanese cooking, and I'm like, it's changing my life right now, and I
mhm,
totally dig it. Right? I I do other things. You have to have other things in your life, and you can't do the one thing forever, and it can't be just tertiary to it. You're like, I mean, I do other things. I also take cosmetic chemistry classes.
yeah, no, it's still work.
That's
I
still
get
part
the
of your
head off.
career.
Still work, you guys. It's still work. Yeah, I think and that's really hard too because I think that there can be this feeling of if I'm not working, it's wasted time.
Yeah, I'm not earning. If I'm not working, I'm not
Mhm.
earning, right?
Mhm.
If I'm not working, I'm not earning. I hear that all the time. If I'm not working, I'm not earning. I like to travel. And I think at this time right now is extra hard because all the
Mhm.
things that we usually do, we kind of can't. It's really hard. I understand. So I think we're having this extra pressure where people are like feeling that passion like sieve out of us,
Mhm.
right? So we have these people who are coming in or being like, I feel that I'm unhappy in my career right now. And I'm like, well, are you unhappy in your career or are you just unhappy? Because you don't have a career right now. Like your career is kind of like meh, meh.
Mhm.
And so you need to be doing something else and you realize you don't have anything else.
Mhm. Well, and exactly to your point of like it's really hard right now. Like let's say it is travel is your thing. Um think too, and I feel like I've spoken about this before, but like, is there an element of like the perfect day for you? Right.
Mm,
For me, it is sitting on a beach in Mexico with a taco. I have a table I must because I need a taco, a margarita, and a really good book. And just to
right?
like sit there and have nothing to do. Okay. obviously there's a lot of parts of that that can't happen right now, but there are elements of it that I can use right now. So doing nothing, right? Resting, reading books that I'm so excited to read that I literally am like trying to, oh, can I finish this so I can go read a little bit while I have a smoothie, or, you know, like finding
Mhm.
excuses to read. Like to me, it's like, oh no, that's a good sign.
Right.
So I encourage you to just like think about, okay, so what if I could be doing anything right now and it would be like the perfectest day ever, what would it be? And then kind of like re-engineer it. What are the elements of that I can do right now?
Mm.
And then
I
do
love
that.
this idea. I could like this is a great you could create a beautiful journey. So like I wish I was cruising right now and
Mhm.
I'm not, right? But I easily like what do I love about cruising?
Mhm.
Actually the doing nothing. Like I literally
Mhm.
book cruises where I have lots of sea days so I'm forced to do nothing.
With no internet.
Well, I still love internet because internet allows me to stream movies and stuff.
That's true.
But it is hard because like I'm a workaholic. We've had conversations about workaholics. And so for me, I schedule days where I'm forced to be at sea, far away from people, where I can't do anything.
Mhm.
And so I'll be like, well, I guess I have to just sit on this bed and watch movies,
Mm.
right? Where food comes magically to me from, I guess, Postmates. And I'll sit on my bed. The difference is I'll have my cats, which will be nice.
That's a perk.
And yeah, Postmates will come to me and I'll just stare out my window.
Yeah. I think scheduling that downtime is so important. And that's
Yeah.
actually like why I started baking, was because I realized that baking and cooking are the only times where I can listen to music and I'm not thinking about work.
Okay,
Even,
because you're thinking about something else?
yeah, well, I'm paying attention to what I'm
Baking.
doing, you know?
Yeah.
Everything else, literally like walking the dog, watching even television with
Mhm.
my husband, like I'm thinking of
Yeah.
and problem solving things at the same time. And this required my hands and my brain fully occupied. But the underpinning of all of these, and I really encourage you, dear listeners, dear viewers,
Yes.
what does your nothing look like? Like,
Yeah.
what is your perfect idea of nothing? And do more of that. And if you're like, no, I don't have time, I'm pretty sure you have some time now because we ain't got nowhere to go. And I have a feeling that as you do more of that, your creative spark is going to come back.
Absolutely.
You will find like parts of your personality and elements that are like lighting you up and like things that you like, and it will reinvigorate what's going on in your business. And I get to like, it's really hard right now because like all we have is work, right? You have home and you have work, and they keep trying to make work. I mean, they have made work way more difficult and for
Right.
some people non existent. And
Yeah.
so it's like we have to yeah, find our nothing again and then do more of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is one of the things I encourage people to do, and I'm going to encourage you to think about it. So, I when I wake up in the morning, I talk about the fact that I try really hard not to get on my phone for the first hour, right? But I also really really try, and I do very good at this. I do not watch TV while on the phone.
Mm.
I know. So I lived at a time where we didn't have phones that had the internet on it. Oh my God. Because I'm an old person. They didn't even have phones with internet ever, for a very long time. But the idea that you can actually just watch a show and a movie and not look at things and not double screen, you
Yeah.
actually have to pay full attention to something, give your full attention to something. This is actually what you have to do to clients as well. And
Mhm.
I think one of the problems that when I talk to people who are also having this problem is because they are used to splitting their attention. And we forget
Mhm.
what focus is like. And many estheticians are like, oh, I have no problem focusing. It's fine. I can do this. It's not a big deal. But then I notice that
Interesting.
younger estheticians actually do have trouble with a lot of like this long-term focus.
Yeah.
And so I had this when I was, and I'm going to talk about this, and I apologize to anybody who I'm going to offend because it's going to happen. When I was looking for somebody to help me when I had my knee surgery, I was just trying to find somebody to sit quietly in a room and get paid $25 an hour to essentially be my like feet. I like go and get my water. So I didn't have to move from my chair. Go get my water.
$25
Go
an
get
hour.
20 I was paying $25 an hour
Oh my God.
under the table.
I would have quit
right?
everything. I'd have been there.
Please just go get the product for me, go change my water, change my sheets for me, whatever, right? But I needed you to sit in my room during every treatment quietly doing nothing. And
Mhm.
people are like, well, can I listen to something? I'm like, no, I can't have any extraneous noise that might come through your earbuds. I can't have you moving. You can't do anything. You have to sit silently. I do nap time facials. You have to sit super quiet and do nothing while I downregulate people, while I
And
give them sound baths. Nothing.
$25 an hour. My God.
But it's $25 a freaking hour. I'm paying
Yeah.
good money, okay? Because I need somebody to do this job. And I make good money, so I have no problem giving you money. And a lot of my clients are on NDAs, so you gotta sign and have NDAs, whatever. People are like, well, can I be on my phone? I'm like, no. They're like, I can't take this job. And I'm like, I don't understand. You make like $250, $300 a day for sitting. I'd be like, if I was now, I'd be like, that's an amazing gig. I want that.
Mhm.
They're like, I can't do this job. I literally, the only people I could get were 40-year-olds who are out of work.
Yeah.
Anybody who was younger couldn't do this job. They just couldn't do it. It was like,
Oh my God. Now stop making noise.
I was like, you have to sit silently. Or they'd be like, I can't be on my phone. I can't live without like, what if it goes off? I'm like, well, then it'll go off
And it's not going
and
to
it won't be here. Because I'm like, you can't even have it in this room. You can't have it in the office. You have to have it away.
Mhm.
You can't check it between clients. Nothing. There's no time. Like, you turn this bed over in 10 minutes. We're done.
Right.
Right? They're like, I can't do this job.
That is so interesting. I mean, and I've been listening to, The Social Dilemma, the movie,
Mm.
and then some interviews with Tristan Harris, the guy from The Social Dilemma. We live in an age of the attention economy,
Yeah.
where there's 9 trillion things at any given time asking for your
Your
attention.
attention. Mm-hmm.
And so we have lost the ability to focus. It's
Yeah.
totally true. And it's probably very tied into why, you're struggling focusing while you're working with your clients or focusing, having conversations with real people. It's a running joke in my family. Sometimes we sit down, I'm like, oh, look, everyone has their phones out. And, I'm guilty of it sometimes too. Something that I have been doing to cultivate focus and attention
Mhm.
goes back to this idea of rest and doing nothing, and is meditation. I set the bar very low as far as expectations of what it needs to look like. And honestly, a lot of times I just sit there for 10 minutes and do nothing. And the fact that is probably for some of you right now sounding like too luxurious and too hard and too this and too that, would be a perfect reason of why you should be doing
Right.
it. Yeah, because we don't know how to sit and do nothing. And there's even times, I mean, it's boring, right? Like there's times, I'm trying to think, we went to go pick up food and I forgot my phone and Anthony went in to get the food and I just sat there and I was just like, oh, well, I guess I'm just sitting here now. But you're not going to die.
And see, if you talk to an old school esthetician, so old school estheticians like me, who've been doing this for 17 years, we can sit for 90 minutes and do nothing with no problem.
Mm-hmm.
We can just sit, I don't bring my phone into a bank. I don't bring my phone places. So I'll just people are like, what are you doing? I'm like, just sitting, just standing.
Mm-hmm.
Just doing nothing, because we have that focus. But it wasn't until I started talking to younger generation estheticians. And once again, if you're listening, you're younger, I apologize. I'm apparently a very old gal.
Well,
but
it's not our fault, okay? It's big tech.
no, it's not. But it is something that has been learned. It is something that we have learned. And so I'm telling you that it's a skill. So the skill that you need, that I have, this is how I've learned it. I've watched TV and movies without another screen in front of me. This is how we learned it. We just watched things.
Yeah.
Without other things. It wasn't hard. It was just marathon watching without other things to distract us.
It's so funny because when you say that, I'm like, oh my God, yeah, I don't do that.
Yeah, no, people don't.
I'm eating lunch and watching,
and I don't allow people, Nils is not allowed to have this. He's not allowed to look at his phone when we're having meals together, because I get super offended. I'm like, no.
Oh, well, okay. So that's interesting. So we do have a no phone at the table rule, and we have family dinners because we're weird.
Yeah, I'm like, no. Mm-mm,
no, because then to me too, this is so interesting. Yeah, the attention economy, which just means that your attention is what's for sale. If you
Yes.
haven't watched A Social Dilemma,
Do.
like Facebook is free because you are the product. That's what people are paying to get access to. And if you're like, what? Go watch that on
It's
Netflix and you will be
amazing.
horrified. But this is the other thing. People are like, I'm deleting Facebook and I'm getting off Instagram. I'm like, that's fine. But like, you're just going to go go on Reddit. We did 1 week of no TV in our household because I always make fun of Anthony. I'm like, you watch so much television. Like you just come home from work and you watch TV. So like no TV for a week. We'll both do it. It'll be fine. And then we both just spent all of our time on Reddit. Like
Scrolling.
yeah, I was like, wait, this is like not any better. It's just something else. So yeah, I think we're so quick to like replace things, which is also like going back to like dissatisfaction with your work.
Right.
Like really investigate what is going on.
Right.
Otherwise, you're just going to be replacing one poor habit for another.
With another. Right. And so that is one of the things that there were 2 different estheticians that I talked to. They're like, I'm having trouble. Like it came down to focus. They're like, I'm having trouble focusing on what I'm doing. And when it came down to it, they're like, I realized when we had a conversation that they're not really bored. They really can't focus on their gig. And so I was like, well, I think you just can't focus. I think it's just, you need mental stamina. You build up mental stamina.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, they're practicing now like meditation, which apparently is very boring, which I've never had problems with because facials are literally very much and understand that many estheticians have talked through a lot of these facials, but now we don't talk because we don't want COVID juice everywhere. And so they're silent facials.
Oh.
And so people aren't talking.
Is that really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, whoa. Hadn't thought of that.
So they're silent facials. So, you used to have like maybe a little repertoire with your client.
Yeah.
And now it's 50 minutes to 90 minutes of silentness.
Oh, I mean, that is a skill. That's totally a skill.
Once again, nap time facials, sound bath facials. We're all just quiet.
Like, I've already been doing this.
Went sick silently. But that's I think that is also something that's like people are realizing that they're having some trouble.
Yeah.
So I don't know. What else would you do for exercises? This is like a whole like exercise. So you get meditation, just watch TVs and movies without something else to do.
I mean, okay, but what about this? Like I roll on balls while I watch. Does that count?
I mean, are you paying attention?
Yeah. But
then you're still doing something because like estheticians, we still do things with our hands and stuff.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like even right now, I'm fidgeting. I'm just a fidgeter.
I mean, we fidget on clients. That's fine.
Yeah. But no, yeah, it is totally different of like watching a show and like paying attention and not paying attention. And I'm like, you're not really even watching the show. Like
right, you have no idea what's going on. So that's why like I grew up and the TV was always on. But as an adult, I don't have TV. Like I only watch TV if I'm actually watching something. I don't have noise on in the background. When I became an esthetician, I realized that I actually couldn't stand lots of extra noise because the only time I have noise on is when I'm listening to music in the background for doing facials.
Right.
And otherwise, like when I drive in my car, it's always silent.
I have different moods. But you know what? I think this is a thing too of knowing and being able to do all of the different things, right? That variety, right? And so practicing quiet, practicing focus as just another skill, as if you were learning, how to play hacky sack. I don't know why that's the first thing that came to mind.
No, but it's understanding your understanding how your mind works and recognizing what your mind needs to prepare for the day. People, I think, don't realize that we need to prepare our mental minds for what we're doing. You know, people are like, you're a yoga instructor. Of course you need to like focus and center yourself. Why wouldn't you have to as an esthetician?
Right. And I did when I was teaching in studio, like I did have a whole ritual, like on my way to the studio, I didn't listen to podcasts. I might put on music, but I needed to think about what I was going to do.
Right.
And then on the way home, I could do whatever I wanted because I had showed up and performed, you know?
Yeah. And for me, I would always be silent on the way into work because I would need to like center myself. And then on the way home, I would definitely need silence because I was taxed. Like my mind needed to like, it taxed out. Like, I'm like, just need to be quiet. Just shh.
Yeah.
Too much noise. 8 to 9 hours of noise. I just, quiet now.
So practice. Well, you need to find a hobby. There's many to-dos in today's episode.
Yeah, guys, this was actually more than we even, I think, expected. We opened a Pandora's box today.
But it was very fascinating.
It was. I hope you got as much as we did. Okay, let's run through it. So
find a hobby.
Find a hobby. Do something beyond your work, okay?
And I will also challenge like a hobby that doesn't cost a lot of money. That's how I
Yeah, no, it doesn't have to be like, well, can anything cost a lot of money right now in the land of COVID?
No. I mean,
No.
it could.
I don't think
Okay,
so.
here's if I had unlimited funds, what I would be doing for my rest. I'm telling you right now. There is a infrared blanket. And you
It's still
get
not that much money.
I know it's more. I'm paying for groceries, okay? And you get in the blanket and you wrap yourself up, and then you just lay there and you sweat.
Every esthetician's like, we own these already. They're part of our spa.
I know. Well, I don't.
I got one sitting in the corner. We all
Is it
have
a
one of
full
these.
body blanket?
Yeah, we all have them. They're all just sitting in the
Okay,
corner.
if
Every
anybody has
esthetician has
one
one of
and
these.
they want to sell it, call me.
Like every esthetician has one of these. This is like what we own.
Okay, call me. I would like it. Yeah. Okay, so you're gonna find a hobby that is inexpensive, and also that brings you joy. You are also going to do more of nothing.
Yes.
I challenge you to practice the skill of focus, whether
Yes.
that be by way of doing nothing or meditation or just having conversations with people without your phone on the table, which is also hard to do. What else did we touch upon? I think too, well, go ahead.
I would say also do something that makes you feel creative.
Oh my God, I was just going to say that. So, yes,
Yeah.
that in the mornings when I do my morning meditation and journaling process, literally I'll be writing and then I'll just stop and I'll stare at the wall. And I have planned out entire challenges and programs and like our workshop idea, it came to me. And that's why I was asking you too about like, how do you find the like how do you put yourself in the mental space to get those messages from the universe or God or whomever, like whatever. And for me, doing nothing is literally like opening up your brain, tuning to that radio station where you can then get that inspiration for creative ideas. And so secretly, yeah, we're telling you to do nothing because like you're going to get so many fantastic ideas. And that doesn't mean you're meditating wrong. That doesn't mean you're doing nothing, the process of nothing wrong. Like that's the whole point.
Yeah. Like for me, it's often standing in the shower, driving quietly. That's often why I sit and drive quietly. You know, that time quietly is my time to sit and be like, this is the time to process all the things, make the magic.
Yeah. I know sometimes too on my, you know, when I'm walking Ella, I'll just start getting all these ideas. And a lot of the times I'm listening to a podcast and I'm just like, gotta turn this off. I just need to be with these thoughts because there's so much good stuff coming in. But that too in itself is a skill to be practiced.
Yeah, it totally is. So much fire with that. I'd also say when you're thinking about like doing something creative that I know that you're like, and be like, oh my gosh. So like I do my Canva canvases or like I'm creating my marketing campaigns for Instagram. No, creativity that is not part of your job.
No.
So I don't care if it's like you're making toilet paper animals with your daughter or you're making dog biscuits for your dog or whatever you're doing. It has to be something you're making snowmen outside, right? I mean, I'm crafting. I'm the worst crafter. I'm terrible. I could do, you know, have the thing cake wrecks. I do craft wrecks. They're all terrible. They're terrible, terrible, terrible. And I still am crafting right now. And I'm like, that turned out terrible. And it's just going in the trash, but it was mine.
Yeah. And you know what? You're going to try some stuff and you're going to be like, not for me. Totally fine.
Yeah. No. And you're still going to be, and it might be not for you, but it was still fun doing it. Having a great time. It's good times. Right. So when you're doing that creativity thing, it definitely helps because it opens up new neural pathways in the brain. And you can think about learning something completely new. Speaking of new neural pathways, doing something new creates new gray matter, right? New neural pathways are created when we do completely new things that make us uncomfortable and that we don't know how to do. Right. And not for your job, something different.
Yeah, no, not work related. I don't bake because I'm going to monetize it. I bake because it just brings me joy.
Right. Oh my gosh, this was a really good show. All right, guys. I hope that you found a lot of use in this and that you come back to us in a few months and are like, I feel so much better. The new year is starting and I have more love in my heart and I have found my passion again. And it's not in a new machine.
No. looking for love in all the wrong places.
Right.
And I do think one of the gifts of 2020, and if you're like, fuck no, there's no gifts, there have been in that, and maybe you have found this to be true too, all of the distraction I had from dealing with my own personal and emotional bullshit is gone. And I was faced with a lot. And it's just like, okay, cool. So let's deal with this now or never, because we definitely have the time to deal with it now. So might as well. So if you're feeling like, I mean, all this stuff is just happening, it's like, yes, we're in a pandemic. It's really hard. But also, like, we can use this time to develop healthier habits that are going to serve you as a human moving forward. Like, not just business owner, but as a human.
Yeah, as a human being. All right. I am definitely more inspired. I didn't even know I was looking for inspiration right now. So yay.
Yay. So we want to hear, commit to it right now. Decide, what are you going to do? This doesn't mean that you're going to have to do it forever, because you might try it and decide you hate it, and that's okay too. But hit us up. You can find us over on the socials. We are at Skinfessional, or Sybil at Your Skin Fitness Expert, or moi at Hala for Mala. Come let us know. Tag us. Holla at us. Let us know what your hobby is going to be, and then start the damn thing. Don't just tell us and then don't do it. Just do the damn thing.
Do the thing, man. Push play. Do the thing. All right. We have a Skinfessional box. It's very sexy, and you can leave messages on it. Yeah, you can. The number is 818-473-5277. So guys, until next week's
Dick in a Box. Oh, sorry. Keep your secrets to yourself.
Okay, wait. It is almost Christmas.
It is.
So, and that is Dick in the Box time. So, but guys, until next week.
Keep your secrets to yourself.
Unless you're telling us.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.